Well, we want you to know that there are folks discussing delisting the gray wolf in Washington, D.C. One of those, Wisconsin State Representative Tom Tiffany from Wausau. Not only is he working to try to delist the gray wolf and put management plans back in the hands of state officials, he is also working to remove tax incentives for some of these big solar farms and wind farms that have sprung up across the state. Tiffany's argument that he believes that we are converting valuable farmland into those solar and wind farms, and that is a cost he does not think we should have to bear. I talked to him about it yesterday. We start off with the argument about the gray wolf.
Yeah, so in the nearly 2 years I've been in Congress, I've introduced a couple bills to allow the delisting of the wolf and to do it in statute so that it turns it over to the state. And that's ultimately what I've been trying to achieve is let's allow the states to manage wolves just like they manage their other wildlife populations. But what we have is federal judges on the coast, once in Washington, D.C. a decade ago, and now just recently a judge from California interjecting themselves into this process and saying, no, we're not going to allow the wolf to be delisted. And it's really disturbing because it's obvious they have very little understanding of what's going on with wolves throughout the country and how their numbers have been restored. We all support having wolves on the landscape, but they should be managed.
Well, exactly. And that's been the case that Wisconsin agriculture has been making for a while. And what's really difficult is there are pockets of wolves being managed, like out in the Rocky Mountain region. I mean, it's a checkerboard kind of situation to try to keep track of.
Yeah, that's correct. So a number of years ago, actually it was Senator John Tester, a Democrat from in the United States Senate in Montana. He made it very clear as he was going up for re-election that, hey, we got to get these delisted, otherwise I may not win re-election. That's what I'm hoping some senators will do here in the upper Midwest, like the two in Minnesota, Senator Baldwin in Wisconsin. And that's what I'd really encourage people to do is contact those U.S. senators and say, this really needs to be done. And they'll be managed properly because our state departments of natural resources, they will do the job that they're given, which is to manage these wildlife populations. But the depredations continue, millions of dollars paid out for the deaths of animals, things like that. And it really is time to return management to the states. And by the way, I just sent a letter to the chairman of the Natural Resources Committee, which I sit on, and I'm encouraging him, Chairman Grijalva from Arizona, to have hearings on this and to start to advance a bill on this issue.
That's Wisconsin State Representative Tom Tiffany, hailing from the Wausau area. He is, again, not only introducing that legislation to allow for delisting the gray wolf, putting that responsibility back in state hands, he's also introduced a bill they're calling the Farm Act for short, Future Agriculture Retention and Management Act. That legislation would eliminate energy tax incentives that are helping to finance siting of solar panel and wind farms on agricultural lands. Tiffany says that will permanently take that land out of production, and he said that comes at an incredible cost. So two different pieces of legislation that Representative Tom Tiffany is working on. We'll be talking with him again in the future.